everyone and welcome back to Sundays in the Garden. If you're new here, my name is Sarah and on this channel I share all of the things I get up to in my English cottage garden and allotment area in the United Kingdom. I share things like jobs to do in different months of the year, seeds to sow in different months of the year, and I do garden vlogs and tours as well. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please subscribe so you can stay up to date with the garden journey this year in 2024. Today's video is a garden tour for January, so let's go on a walk around the garden and see what's going on and talk through my plans for the year. So as I step outside the back door, this is our patio area, and you can see I've got a pile of bricks here at the moment. These are going to be used to make a brick border on the left hand side of our garden over there. I've already completed a brick garden border on the right hand side of our garden over there, as you can see. There's a video of that earlier on in my channel if you'd like to check that out and see how I went about it. Over here are my blueberry plants. I've got 3, an early fruiting, a mid-season fruiting and a later fruiting variety. They're fine, they just need to be staked or caned this year and covered from the birds because the birds love these down this end of the garden. Then we've got this clematis plant here. This is a Montana variety and it's been here for the entire time we've lived in our house, which is over 10 years. Here it is in full bloom in spring and summer. It's absolutely beautiful. It's really well established and we love it. Then coming over here to the pond area, this is a fantastic area of the garden on the left-hand side of the patio with its own little ecosystem. We have newts in here, we have frogs in here. It's absolutely wonderful and we don't really have to do much to it. We leave it to its own devices and it's beautiful. At the back there, you can see the Japanese meadowsweet, which needs to be cut back in the next month or two before it starts growing again. Here it is in the summer. It's absolutely beautiful. I have a few different plants of these around the pond area. In the pond, we have some water lilies. I'm afraid I don't know which variety because they were here when we moved in, but they look like this when they're in flower and they're really stunning as well. And we have quite a few flowers in the pond now. And the tadpoles, when they start to grow legs, like to climb out and sit on the leaves, which is really cute to watch. This area does need a bit of a tidy up and it's on my to-do list for the next month. Then we come and walk up the path here, which is a winding path up the garden, and look back here to the area behind the shed. And this is my spring bulb area. The spring bulbs always do really, really well here. There's a storage area at the back of the shed there as well, which you can see. But in here, I've got snowdrops, I've got crocuses, daffodils, irises and bluebells, and they're just starting to appear now and I can't wait to see them in a few months' time. Hopefully mid-February to end of February there should be some beautiful colour and flowers here. Here are the snowdrops from last year, looking really cute. We've got 2 varieties of snowdrop in here. These are some crocuses that were in the area last year. Here are some of the bluebells before we painted the fence in the background. It's now green. And here are some of the dwarf daffodils that are in here as well. Then over here I've got my pots which I planted my bulbs in before Christmas and they are already starting to appear above the surface, which is really exciting. I've got some hyacinths and a bulb lasagna and some daffodils and tulips and things in there, so we'll see how they develop over the coming months. This is my fuchsia plant and we thought we'd lost it. It died back to the ground level and I couldn't see much life in any of the stems, but it did revitalise and here it is last year looking absolutely beautiful. So I'm hoping we'll have an even better year this year. And it's a real story of hope in the garden because I could have just dug it out and given up on it, but it came back. So it's great. This is a yellow rose and here is what it looks like in the summer. Absolutely stunning. And over the other side here we also have a rose. Both of these roses were here when I moved in, and this rose is a red rose and it's really beautiful. It was only a few years into us living there I realised it was actually growing in our garden and not our neighbour's garden. Coming back down to this area of the garden, we have some more roses. This rose was here when we moved in. It's a beautiful deep red variety. It smells amazing and you can see how absolutely stunning the petals are. It's really close-knit petals and they're stunning in the summer. And then we have over here a David Austin Roald Dahl rose, which I planted a few years ago, and it looks like this when it's in full bloom. And it's really starting to establish itself now and getting quite a lot of new growth on it. So that's really exciting. We'll see how that grows this year. And then over here, I've got a wild dog rose, which was here when we moved in, but we moved it from a different area of the garden. And then we have another climbing yellow rose. We've got a couple of those here, and this is what they look like in the summer when they're in full bloom. Absolutely beautiful. It did wonderfully last year, and this is the area with all the 3 roses blooming last year, and I want to tidy that up a bit this year, but it does look beautiful. And then we come to this area of the garden, which at the moment looks completely empty and like nothing's really happening, but this is where the yellow loose strife all grows. This is some yellow loose strife in a different area of our garden with the roses behind, but the area that is currently empty is normally filled with yellow loose strife, so it's about kind of goes above the top of the bench there and all the way over there, and it's absolutely stunning. And there's some more yellow loose strife over here as well. And then we also are really lucky to have our own little bluebell dell up here. So coming up this way, you can probably see some already starting to shoot under this table, which shouldn't be here. I need to move the table and find somewhere better for it. But we have loads of bluebells in here, and actually I might like to add some more. I'm going to see how many come up. But here it is a few years ago with all the bluebells in bloom, looking absolutely stunning, and a peony in the background. There is also a peony in this area as well. And then I'm coming back down the path because this is one of my sort of problematic areas of the garden because it's very shaded, and a lot of the things that are growing in there weren't put in by me. In fact, I think pretty much everything over here was here when we moved in, and I don't really know what I want to do with it because not a huge amount will grow. So with all the shade of these trees here, so we'll have to see what I decide to do with this year. I've got a plan really to clear it and try a few different things. I might even try some plants in pots in this shaded area, see how they do, and if they do well I can plant them into the ground, and if they don't I will move them somewhere else and try different things just to see what grows, because we have got some alliums, for example, that are growing on the left hand side of the garden near the loose strife under the shade, and they do really well. So who knows. That plant over there is the Blackberrys plant. It's very prickly and sharp, and I think I'm going to remove it actually because it doesn't really serve our garden and it's dangerous for our small boys when they kick a ball into the fence. So yeah, that's coming out, I think. Coming up here, we've got the decking area, which my dad put in about, I think it's 6 years ago this year. And it needs a good clean, but it's a lovely area to sit when all the trees that are behind it are in bloom, in leaf in the summer. It's a lovely place to sit. And then here is my beautiful greenhouse, which I'm so lucky to have. And that was here when we moved in, and everything does really well in there. It's even screened off, so when we look out from the window, you can't even see it's there, which I love because it kind of creates these little secret pockets in different areas of the garden, which is lovely. At the moment, I've got some lettuce growing in here, but soon it'll be time for tomatoes and aubergines, so that space is going to be really well used, and I'm going to do a little bit more reorganising in there as well. Coming up here towards the archway, you can see the beautiful weeping willow in the background there. That's not in our garden, that's actually in our neighbour's garden, but it's absolutely stunning. I really love it, and it's a beautiful waterfall effect at the back of the garden there every year. The archway was a bit of a sad story. It was covered in beautiful Montana clematis and ivy when we moved in, but slowly but surely the ivy kind of killed off the clematis, which then left a dead clematis all over it, and so I had to clear the whole thing, and you can see how beautiful the area was before. So I'm very much trying to get back to that with the star jasmine on the hazel hurdle fence here, hoping that will grow over it with the beautiful rose. I've got a new Dawn David Austin rose as well, so fingers crossed. This is the area where I planted my tulip bulbs. There's 70 to 80 tulip bulbs in there, and it's got some beautiful trees surrounding it, but things grow really well in this area. We've got an ash, we've got a laburnum, we've got a birch tree, but yes, it gets plenty of sun, so things grow well here. And then the new hazel hurdle fence at the back there I put in just before Christmas as well. That had some dogwood growing there, but that had again died off. It had been there for a very long time and needed replacing, so I thought this would be a nice screening area, and this is hopefully what it will look like in a year or two's time. The flowers that grow on star jasmine are really, really beautiful and really, really fragrant, so I'm hoping that that's going to start growing well this year, so I'll keep you updated on that one. And then we come through to the allotment area, and at the moment things are fairly quiet. Under here I'm forcing some rhubarb, which I talked about a few weeks ago. So if you've got any rhubarb that you would like to bring on a bit early, cover with a pot, and then you should get some a bit earlier in the season. Strawberry patch, which needs tidying. That less said about that bed, the better. I will talk about that in a moment. But yes, the strawberries do well. They just need a bit of a tidy up. That one is currently just covered. We've got some garlic on the right-hand side here, and that's doing reasonably well, but someone has been nibbling a couple of them, so I'm wondering if they're going to recover. I hope that they do. And then the other end of that bed is currently just quiet and nothing going on. And then further up I've got some onions in this bed which are doing okay at the moment, and some leeks which again need to come out. Some of them need to come out, some of them are doing okay, so we'll see how they get on, and I'll just leave them to it at the moment. But yes, they're not fantastic, but we'll see how they do as the months progress. Over on the left hand side here, I've got some broad beans growing and they're doing really well. I covered them when it was really cold a few weeks ago with some fleece and they seem to have survived mostly the frost. So I will do that again if we get any more really low temperatures, but they can survive at very low temperatures, so they do really well. The bed to the back here is still covered. I'm not sure what's going in there yet, and this one still needs to be cleared, so I need to dig that one over in the next few weeks, ready for planting. At the back here, I've got loads of blackberry canes, more through ignoring the area than actually anything deliberate. There were blackberry canes here when we moved in. It was hugely covered and I sort of try and keep on top of it a little bit, but it's completely going crazy. So if you've got any ideas of what I can do with this area, please let me know. Not much would grow this far at the back in terms of other plants, although having said that, the blackberries are doing well, but it doesn't get a huge amount of sun back here due to the weeping willow. But they're all growing over that side and I'll definitely keep some of those because they're absolutely delicious. Over here, there is a beautiful rose, a climbing rose, which looks lovely. It's a pinky colour. And then down here, it was obviously covered with the dogwood plant, but this is all going to be dug out and cleared because I'm going to make this into my little herb garden area. I'm not sure whether to put everything into pots again to start with, just to see how they do in this area in terms of sun and things. I think it'll be a herb garden in pots to start with, and then I will plant them into the ground if I think they're doing okay. Over here, we've got a bed that really needs to be sorted out. To be honest, it's always been the bed that I put all the rubbish onto and then clear at a later stage, and it just sort of sits like that. But this year I would like to actually be using it properly, so I'm going to plant some things in there. There's some things to tidy up at back here. Everyone has areas to tidy in the garden. The compost bin does get well used, so that's doing well. And then we've got some raspberry canes as well in the planter at the back over there. So that concludes the garden and allotment tour for January, but I'm going to pop back inside because I also wanted to show you quickly before I finish some of the Christmas presents I got for this year for the garden, because they were really lovely. My sister got me this, which is a new set of gardening gloves, always useful in the garden, and some secateurs, a trowel and a fork. So that was lovely. Always nice to have new tools and new gloves for the garden. So that's always a note to anyone looking to buy presents for a gardener in your life. My mum and dad got me a subscription to Seedcraft this year. Let me show you the box. I've seen a few other gardeners on YouTube who have used this or worked with this brand, but this is not someone I've worked with. It's just a gift I got for Christmas. With Seedcraft, each month you get sent a box like this in the post, and inside are some packets of seeds that you can sow in the month that the packet arrives. So we've got some tomato seeds here. Let me see if it'll focus. Some early carrot seeds, some leek seeds, and some onion seeds. So all seeds that you can grow in the month of January. And also inside is a little leaflet with information about each of the sets of seeds you've got as well. So it's really useful because if you've got a busy year coming up or something like that, then this is great because there's less thought that needs to go into it. Each month through your letterbox will come the seeds you need to plant that month, so you can be keeping on top of everything without having to think about it. So that's great. Thank you to my mum and dad for that one. I got these rainbow planters as well from my sister, which I love because I'm really into multicolours and rainbows and things, and I'm going to hang these on the trellis area down near the patio doors on our house so I can see them all the time and fill them with herbs and plants later in the year. So that is all the things that I got for Christmas, and that concludes my garden tour for January. Hope you have enjoyed the video. If you've enjoyed it, give it a like. If you want to see more garden tours in the coming months as everything starts to grow, then please subscribe so you stay up to date with all of that. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye!